And I tell you, the Reds have been really active in terms of acquisitions. This was a bit of a surprise, but they traded Jonathan India, their second baseman, third baseman, who's really been serviceable. He's got a little pop in his bat. He goes to the Kansas City Royals in a trade for Brady Singer, a really good young pitcher. And the Reds had already just re-signed Nick Martinez, who had a 3.20 ERA, although I'm shocked that Martinez gets $21 million a year. John, you should have been a left-handed pitcher. You wouldn't be doing this damn show with me. You'd be living in a castle anyhow. So the Reds trade Jonathan India to Kansas City. I think that's probably a win-win for both. Red Sox. Is this the week this happens? There are rumors everywhere in baseball. Red Sox are going to be players in free agency. That's item one. Red Sox bid on Soto. Red Sox have met with Blake Snell. Now the Red Sox this weekend talked to the Cardinals about Nolan Arenado.
Wow.
And the Red Sox evidently are offering their young first baseman Tristan Casas and young outfielder Will Abreu to the Cardinals for Arenado. Arenado's got a lot of miles on him at age 34, but big power bat, can play third, can play first. And by the way, he'd be taking his swings at Fenway Park with the Green Monster out there.
Interesting.
That's an interesting acquisition if Boston gets it. We'll find out if that deal happens. Colorado, what a disaster. They're getting rid of all the players. They're cutting their payroll, and they're in last place, lost 100-plus games. They non-tender starters 2 and 3 in the rotation. Cal Quantrill, Austin Gomber, both non-tendered by the Rockies because they didn't want to pay him what they would have gotten in arbitration. Those guys go on the market. And they had a young second baseman. His name was Brendan Rodgers. Hit like hell 2 years ago, all-star. They non-tendered him. They let him go. So those are 3 Rocky players that I think are fairly serviceable becoming free agents. Yankees, great debate. Oh, to be doing sports talk radio in New York. Do you think I'd hit a few hot buttons of people if I was on WFAN right now? Aaron Judge, after being named MVP with Ohtani this past week, says over the weekend, as far as I'm concerned, the only thing that matters with the New York Yankees is their reputation to go get players and to keep players. Aaron Judge says they can pay Juan Soto whatever they can to keep him because that's who Yankee baseball is. Very interesting observation there. And the last one, sad note. I tried to think when he first broke in who I compared him with. And the first name that came to mind might have been Swug, Will McCovey, San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Second one might have been Baby Bull, Orlando Cepeda.
Right.
Rico Carty just passed away. Remember him?
I do.
Big bat, Caribbean player. Hit .299 first year off the islands for the Atlanta Braves. A couple of years later, he hit .366.
Whoa.
Phenomenal ball player. Played 14 years in the majors. Most success was with Atlanta. I crossed paths with him when I was working in Cleveland. Remember the big actor with the big bat in Big League, the Martin Sheen movie? The voodoo guy.
Oh, yeah.
Big power hitting first baseman.
Yeah, he was like from the Dominican, I think.
Yeah, and that's kind of who they portrayed was Rico Carty.
Really?
He showed up, and he was a monstrously big man and gentle, nice, deep voice. I mean, he was just really cool guy. Anyhow, Rico Carty passed away. Lifetime .299 hitter. I think he had 204 home runs over the course of his career. He passes away in the Caribbean at age 86. He was a great player. So, John, topics on the table. Go ahead and respond.
Topics on the table. Like Rico Carty, was he on the Red Sox or the Reds in the 75 World Series?
It was the Reds.
Yeah, because I remember he hit like a pinch hit home run in one of those games, and we were all like, "Oh yeah, Rico Carty," and so. But I didn't know that he was like the model for the guy on Major Leagues. That's funny. It's interesting when you look at the waiver wire and all the names. The one name you mentioned, you didn't mention with the Angels, was Mickey Moniak was released, #1 overall pick from San Diego.
Well, he was non-tendered, but they could always bring him back. They just didn't want to tender him at what he was supposed to get in arbitration. But the guy hit 201.
Yeah, so he's not on the 40-man roster then, right?
Well, if he's non-tendered, he is a street free agent.
Right.
But you can still pick up the phone and call him and bring him back. The Angels they're in a tough situation. They got Moniak hit 201. Joe Adell hit 20 home runs. He's a former first-round pick, but he hit 205. and you had no Mike Trout. That was your starting outfield. You can't bring all these guys back at the prices they want.
Right. Well, you got to find space for Soler as well. But it's interesting how you look at the non-tendered list and the waiver wire. There's a lot of first-round picks that are gone. And then you also see a lot of guys that A.J. Preller traded away that have eventually drifted off because, Preller identified them as not really being major league level.
Quantrill.
Yeah, that's one of many examples.
Exactly. Okay. Now, how about the Red Sox? Do you think Arenado would hit a few shots at Fenway Park?
He'd be fantastic there. But doesn't Devers play third?
They're going to move him to first. Devers, I did not realize this. Devers is the second worst fielding third baseman in baseball.
Really?
I didn't realize that. I don't study the metrics minutia all the time because there's too much other minutia that I pay attention to.
You're the one that knows more minutia than anybody.
But yeah, I read today that they want to move him to first base over the objection of his agent. But the reality is, one of the columnists in Boston wrote, he's the second worst rated fielding third baseman in baseball. Great hitter, no doubt about it, but doesn't play first base real well.
Then that's perfect to get Arenado to play third, and then move Devers over to the other side of the infield.
Funniest story. First time I ever went to Fenway Park, I sat in left center in the bleachers, right in the corner. And my wife looked at the Fenway scoreboard and said, "Boy, there's a lot of dents in that board, that green wall." I said, "Yeah, that's Fenway Park. Green monster. Home runs ricochet off there." It was all dented. It was hilarious.
Yeah. I remember my first time at Fenway, I was there with one of my buddies in the late 80s, and we were saying, next time Jim Rice is up, he's hitting a home run. And sure enough, he did. And then later in the game, someone brought out like one of those inflatable dolls, and it was bouncing around like a beach ball in right field.
Well, you and I always talk about, quote, the baseball philosophy of construction of a roster. Can you build a piece of your roster around guys that fit your stadium? Fenway Park right-handed hitter. Yankee Stadium short right field porch. Give me a left-hander with power. Wrigleyville. Anybody can hit the ball in the wind. So if they make this trade to get Arenado, even at age 34, that's a pretty good acquisition because he'd probably dent the green monster a few times too.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's another team that was really perfect for their stadium was Whitey Herzog's Cardinals in the 80s.
Oh, the running Redbirds.
Yeah, and they had that artificial turf, and that ball would roll, and they'd run.
On we go. Oh.